Welcome to the fourth episode of Tech2Sustain Conversations for a Greener Tomorrow. We will discuss in this episode the role of management and boards in recognizing the need for integration of technology to achieving their sustainability goals. Now, in terms of the next session, let us hear from the business transformation expert. So maybe I should bring Praveen here. Praveen, what are some of the challenges that come forward in this shift as the discourse of technology-led sustainability finds prominence across the value chain of any business, and how should technology leaders like you should be navigating this? Or maybe I can also ask you as to what would be your advice to those who are still sitting on the wall waiting to mainstream technology integration to the sustainability goals, as Justin mentioned. They cannot achieve many of those sustainability goals without integrating, but they are still sitting on the bench. So, what would be your advice and how a technology leader should go about? Praveen.
Sure. First of all, guys, it's a pleasure to be along the esteemed panel here. A lot of great points and great discussions. I think one point we want to draw out of it is the aspect of sustainability is real and it's an urgency for all of us to start acting on because we've been talking about it a lot. And there are several inventions or innovations already there in terms of how we are able to address the sustainability goals. Now, coming to technology and how do we need to prepare with technology? See, technology is always helping us to work smarter. Work smarter is very important because if you work smarter, the wastage is less. And the wastage is less means it's directly contributing towards the sustainable practices. Now, how is technology helping us to do things better? It is helping us to analyze data better. It is helping us to introduce better workflows or through automation. And also, it's able to identify problems faster and sooner. And ultimately, it could be production process, it could be medical interventions, but we are able to leverage technology to put to better use. Now, the big challenge for all of us to pause and think is how do we really put technology to use? Is it just technology that's going to be a game changer? I think my observation is it's about the science, the technology, and the data in a combination is what we need to start thinking about. And it is the right time to think about that because of the priority and a lot of focus has been there in the sustainability goals. But if you look back and understand your own organization, can you be able to accomplish as a single person? You need to bring everybody on, and the first step in this is about learning what is sustainability goals, because we can see on the panel itself we got some discussions around sustainability means sustaining for future. The other point of view is sustainability means having conservative energy or conservative sources to contain the carbon, right? So first we need to understand what are these sustainability goals and how do we accomplish those. Those are very fundamental, and that kind of a learning needs to be embedded in every organization, and it becomes must right now as part of our operating model. That's number one. Number two is then we need to stop and think about, as I rightly said, with innovation, which is applying science, technology, and data. Very important components, because if you don't apply these three, then we will not be able to accomplish a lot here. So that how do we apply those, and how do we repurpose and reuse these kind of innovation levers or sustainability control levers across everything we do? So it's across everything we do. There's no specific agenda here, right? And then when and where, from alignment perspective, because we have a lot of investments that we are planning for 2022, and we need to go and align it with what is each investment yielding in terms of sustainability and put a sustainability dimension on the top. And the time has come now. I would advise a lot of CIOs and senior leaders in IT may be waiting for, oh, the business would tell us about sustainability and then we'll start working on it. As the panel rightly said, it is everybody's problem and it's everybody's job, and everybody should be accountable, and we need to start both top down and bottom up. And lastly, what I would advise is, from a technology perspective, see, there's a there's an aspect of predictive nature, preventive nature, proactive, and prescriptive, the four P's that we all know. When we look at predictive, we need to use technology to predict more, predict better, right? Because the technology is helping us to predict better because of the advancements. And when we predict better, we can control and contain, because we don't want to be in the reactive mode, because gone are those days. We've been all along now, we've been reactive. We understand that the temperatures are going up. We understand that we need to control this, and there's a lot of damage already done. But what would we do to prevent that damage to reoccur, and predict better? That's the first step. I'll take an example here. I think John from Mars has already called out like cocoa example, right? So you need to understand how deforestation is happening, and how deforestation is happening won't be known when you go into the forest and see it. You have to look at from a satellite images on the planet Earth, which areas are really impacted by deforestation, and then you need to focus on there. That requires technology, that requires data, that requires the ability to do intelligent systems and constantly keep you aware of that. That doesn't limit you with deforestation of cocoa, but it's the same with palm oil. And Mars has done a great program called Palm Oil Positive, that is helping to increase the forestation of palm oil by doing only business with selective suppliers that are contributing towards the forestation, right? So increasing more palm oil trees as we are able to do business there. Same thing with coral reef restoration, which Mars has undertaken a great project, which is very important for marine life, and how coral reef is built in deep sea waters, and how it is getting disrupted right now. So to do a lot of these kind of sustainability efforts and conservative efforts, we need to put technology, science, and data into motion, and the time has come now.
Sure, I think it was wonderful. The three dimensions of science, data, and technology, and the four P's which you mentioned as to how the technology can really kind of help navigate towards the different definitions of sustainability, but it will help in all those different dimensions of sustainability. I think so. So maybe at this point, maybe moving the discussion to Brooke, you have been in an industry sector where sustainability discussions started long back, which I'm talking about Estee Lauder, your earlier organization, and as the company's first CISO at that time, what role you say that leadership or the board is having in moving this needle of incorporating technology towards the sustainability goals? I mean, people have been setting up these tall goals, but do people, the board, really understand what technological innovations are required to move in that particular direction? And also, in the present digital space, in terms of the journey of sustainability towards the end consumers, as mentioned in this discussion, that the millennials and the digital dwellers, how do you see that space evolving as well, bro?
Sure. So, I think that really brings together some of the points that everybody on the panel has been bringing up, starting from John A. talking about risk mitigation, which is where you really start to get into what is the board's role, managing the risk of the organization overall, through what you're doing with the consumers, whether you're calling it CPG 4.0 or omni-channel retail, all those kinds of terms of, consumers want to be able to do anything everywhere all at the same time, down to making sure that you've got the right metrics, the right goals, touching on some of the things that Praveen was just talking about right now. You need to be making sure that comes in a context of something beyond the quarterly results, and looking at those results as something that needs to be there sustained. If you don't build in that sustained long-term view, you end up falling into the same kind of trap that it's very easy for cybersecurity or privacy goals to fall into. They look like a cost center. They look like something that is only there, that is just going to cost you money. And as long as nothing bad happens, why do we need to spend any money on that? There's a joke among CISOs that if everything is going right, nobody knows you exist. It's only when something really terrible happens, when the company is breached, then all of a sudden you get everything that you need. Only, it's a little bit too little, too late. The bad thing has already happened. So if you have that discussion early on, get those goals set and get people thinking about what does this look like in the years to come, that's where we as technology leaders actually have a strong role to play, because as everybody's been saying, a lot of this is about process change. And how are we monitoring the process change? Well, these days it's with technology. We are tracking everything, whether we're using QR codes, blockchain tracking of some sort, instrumentation in the fields as we're growing produce or something like that. All of that bakes into tracking what's going on. And if you're going to move that needle, if you're going to shift things, you need to be looking at transforming the process. Technology is the tool that helps make that happen, but the process itself is something that is happening across all aspects of the business. And it can be completely global. At Estee, brands would routinely have their packaging printed in Canada, their ingredients mixed and formulated in China, and then they'd actually be put together into the containers to be shipped out in Long Island. And this was something that happened all along. That in itself is a risk management exercise, as everybody has seen in the past year and a half with all the supply chain disruptions. If you don't have one step in there working right, the whole thing falls apart. And now you can't get toilet paper. So that's something that we all need to be looking at. That is sustainable, which absolutely the consumers are looking for. That's part of the brand, but it's also part of the business leadership and the board's responsibility to make sure that we are going to continue to have a business going forward. As long as you're here for a long-term business, keep it up. You need to have sustainability as a part of it. And if you build that, then you're going to get those consumers, millennials, Gen X, anybody, everybody, that is looking for sustainability as part of the brand that they're trying to buy into, the way they want to live life, but you're building for a longer term future as well. So yes, absolutely. Get those younger consumers hooked on your products early on, happy to use them, and stay with them for years to come. And your business will be thriving as things continue on. So engaging the board, getting those goals in place, getting the metrics in the right place, getting people thinking beyond what are the quarterly results? Did we have a good holiday season? Whatever is the right way to look at it for your business, and saying we need to be here for the long haul. How are we going to do that?
So thank you for bringing it out very clearly. And as Brooke, when you were mentioning, I was just thinking that the so-called millennials, which we talk about, the first of the millennials will be reaching about 40 now, and in the financial sector, they are talking about how in this particular decade, the money will change hands to the millennials, and how buying decisions, investment decisions, and all those things would change. That's a kind of a very interesting thing as well to observe. So thank you very much for bringing those perspectives as well.